It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. And again, we are brought to you locally by our friends at Smiley One Heating and Cooling and Bryant. Together, they are Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling experts. I'll just give them the premier. I'll just say it. They're the premier. We'll make it that way. So, Daryl, as the Browns enter this week, I thought it was interesting because we talked about this on our show today. In the last 16 victories for your Cleveland Browns, they are 3-13 the following week. How do we avoid the Browns letdown against Indianapolis?
Hopefully Deshaun plays Sunday.
You could say the defense again holds up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern I have about the defense is that, can they stand the prosperity, right? Because going into the San Francisco game, there were a lot of questions about, are these guys legit, right? Because the Ravens tore them up a little bit. And they hadn't played anyone or allegedly and things like that. Now you shut down one of the premier offenses in the NFL, and now everyone's giving them love. I mean, the Kelsey brothers on their podcast were talking about how awesome the Browns defense is and how great they are and things like that. So, the Pat McAfee show, all the national shows now, all of a sudden they're paying attention to this Browns defense.
So what we've been watching since day one, right? You've seen this since before Greenbrier.
Right. So now that they're doing that, the question is, can they stand the prosperity of, not having the chip on your shoulder of all the haters, right? I mean, because Greg Newsome has talked to me a couple of times about this. They're not paying attention to the outside noise, but yet they know about all the outside noise.
They were up 6 spots in the CBS poll this week in their power poll.
Right.
They went from 16 to 10. I think it was CBS.
So that's a little amusing to me. But there's not a lot of criticism on that side of the ball. Really, all the criticism with the Browns is on the offensive side of the ball.
For sure.
And if they can just start taking care of the football, I honestly, I think that's the for all the bitching and moaning that Browns fans do about Kevin Stefanski and play calling and things like that. If they could just not turn the football over every single game this year, all 5 games, and they've managed somehow to win 3 of them, but in all 5 games, the Browns have lost the turnover battle. They lost it against San Francisco.
It's amazing that they're winning games like that too, right? It's amazing because normally you lose that turnover battle, you're toast.
Right. So for all this consternation about Kevin Stefanski, and if the offense would just take care of the damn football and stop turning it over, I think they'd be okay. Now, if PJ Walker starts, I think we're going to get another week of some more turnovers. But when Deshaun comes back, I mean, I'm watching Stump Mitchell doing running back drills on Wednesday where, I think it was Jerome Ford. Yeah. 34. He's carrying a ball in each hand, and there is a blue elastic strap wrapped around the football. And so how it works is he holds them in his hands, and each coach, there's a coach on each side with the elastic band, just yanking on the elastic band, trying to get meanwhile, Stump comes in and he just starts punching on the football, trying to get it out of Jerome's hands. And Jerome, that's what they do to work on, ball security, if you will, especially for those the running backs. And let's be honest about it, Jerome has had a case of fumbleitis throughout his football career. But yeah, if the offense just takes care of the ball, I think things are fine. And they'll be able to score more points. You can't score if you don't have the ball. So, well, I guess you can if the defense is able to put points on the board. But I think just and a lot of times where the defense has had their, I don't want to say breakdowns, but the 2 red zone touchdowns that the Browns have given up, or I should say 2 of the 4 red zone touchdowns that the Browns defense has given up have come off turnovers. I'm not worried about this defense. To to me, they have proven themselves, right? If there's anything that they have to prove, in my view, Andy, it's that they can just maintain this level of consistency.
Yeah, health is the only thing I think you need to worry about for the defense. I'm pretty much for the rest of the season. It's a long season. Guys are going to get hurt, so it's going to be interesting to see how healthy they can stay. I'm going to backtrack for a second just on the power ranking stuff I was talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
Just I want your take on this. So I went through and I just looked at a bunch of sites just to see where the Browns are compared to last week. ESPN moved the Browns up from 12 to 6. Yahoo, they are now at 9 from 11. NFL.com, they've moved up to 10 from 12. CBS, they moved up 6 spots from 16 to 10. And the only one that was interesting was Pro Football Focus dropped the Browns back 1 from 11 to 12. I thought it was interesting. So
after beating the 49ers?
yes. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I was like, really? They dropped him 1? So just your thoughts on that. And by the way, the Browns are kind of likable now, right? Everyone's talking about them. Everyone's talking about the defense.
Well,
the defense is likable.
I was going to say, the defense is likable.
But that makes the whole franchise likable. I mean, you just beat one of the last two. And I'm just going to say this.
I still think
because Deshaun's not playing, maybe teams think we're more like fans and other media, outside media might like the Browns a little bit more.
Yeah, I still
throwing it out there.
I still think Deshaun makes this team hard to root for externally, outside of Cleveland or outside of being a Browns fan.
Sure.
Like to the general football fan, I think the ick of Deshaun and what he was accused of makes this team hard to root for. But the defense itself and the impact that Jim Schwartz has had, absolutely, they're fun. Like I have no issue with them coming out with the boombox and all that kind of stuff. I had no issue with the fight that happened.
I thought the fight helped. I'll be honest.
I think it helped a little bit too, but like I don't have it because the 49ers instigated it. And I'm a believer if someone instigates something, you should be allowed to stand your ground and defend yourself. And I as I like to say, I thought it was a proportional response by the Browns in that kerfluffle. So I do think this defense is likable. You know, guys like Martin Emerson. This is a late round pick that is, come out of nowhere, played really well as a rookie. He's playing amazing this year. Denzel Ward, the Ohio State Buckeye. He has made a couple of Pro Bowls. He's on his way to a third Pro Bowl season right now. Myles Garrett is playing well. The run defense is vastly improved with, Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle and Zadarius Smith being added to the mix. So Anthony Walker is as professional as they come. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I think, is having a career year. Grant Delpit is having a career year right now. So on that side of the football, there are a ton of likable players, likable personalities. But collectively, I do feel like once Deshaun gets back on the field, that ick factor among the casual football fan is still going to be there. But when it comes to Browns fan don't care. As long as Deshaun is number one available, because that's the number one complaint fans have right now. Every time I post about Deshaun, I see that the mentions or whatever, and they're rather negative. But it only has to do with his availability. As they say, your best ability is your availability. And quite frankly, since Deshaun's been a Cleveland Brown, he hasn't been very available. So, for what he's being paid. One reason he could have helped, and the injury here, you can't help. You can't help getting hurt. That stuff's going to happen. But, Browns fans going to go bananas if Deshaun comes back and he plays well and they start stacking wins. As I look at that schedule on the back end and see all those teams with losing records, man, Browns fans going to go bananas, not only here in Cleveland, but across the country. Even the, guys like Paul Brown, our buddy who's across the pond, God love him, who, he's always flying in to catch Browns games and which is great, but they're going to be excited about this team and really excited. And a lot of the things that I do enjoy reading some of the national clips and things like that. I read something. I wish I could give the proper credit. Someone in summation, they said The Browns defense is for real. If the offense gets it together, basically the Browns are going to be a real problem for people in January. And I
Might
do
have been
agree with
CBS. I think I read that too.
that. Maybe it was CBS.
Yeah.
I don't, I forget who wrote it, but it's what I've been saying. It's what I've been writing. It's how I've felt that, yeah, if this offense takes care of the football and they start scoring again, talking is difficult for me right now, folks. If they start scoring more points, then I think that more people are going to take them seriously, including like I think Yahoo Sports did a who's your contenders thing.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what? That's where I read it. It was on Yahoo because they did their Super Bowl contenders and they put the
Oh,
Browns in that second tier. And that was kind of the point they were making that, hey, if this offense gets its you know what together, the Browns are going to be a problem for a lot of people because they have a championship caliber defense. That's what's exciting. And I think too, for fans, what might be a little frustrating too, because the start that this defense is off to, Andy, doesn't come around a whole lot, right? And
no, it's historic. I mean,
yeah,
so
you don't want to blow it. You don't
yeah.
want to blow this opportunity that they have in front of them.
Well, they just have to stay healthy. All right, I want to look forward to Indianapolis. You said Hoosier somewhere in there, and I thought I was like, oh, that's a perfect segue to let us talk about Indiana, which is next, and we're going to talk about that next. It's always game day in Cleveland.